Hello, Facebook friends. Staff Sergeant Nanos, the digital recruiter for Southern California.
I'm Staff Sergeant Bradley. I'm just a regular Army recruiter here in Mission Viejo.
We're here with PFC Walls, who's just about to head out to her first duty assignment in Germany. PFC Walls, go ahead, tell the Facebook friends about yourself.
I'm Alyssa Walls. I'm 19 years old, and I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, and I graduated from Barry Goldwater High School.
Oh.
Bulldogs.
Go Bulldogs. All right. So, PFC Walls, you are active duty, correct?
Yes, Sergeant.
Now tell us, don't call me Sergeant either. Why did you join the Army?
So I was working at a place called Colson Creamery, and a veteran came in. So he was telling me about his service and whatnot, and it kind of inspired me, you know. When you see somebody be fulfilled with their life and just be very happy about the decisions that they made, you know, it kind of makes you envious of them. And so I really didn't have a path yet, and I envied him. And I went to the recruiting station, and here I am.
All right,
Nice.
that's a good story. Colson Creamery, huh?
Yeah.
What's your favorite ice cream?
Strawberry blonde.
All right, you chose active duty opposed to reserves. Why?
Yes.
What factors played a part in making that decision?
I wanted the full-time gig. You know, reserves are good for some people, but for me, the active duty was what I wanted.
All or nothing good.
Yeah.
Now, what is your MOS?
I'm a 68 Papa, which is a radiology specialist. Civilian side is called an X-ray tech. We pretty much people that, let's say they get a break or something, we take pictures of their bones.
Awesome. So, kind of go in detail as far as like the daily scope of duties of an X-ray tech, because a lot of people just think, you know, like, oh, you're looking at X-ray, your leg's broken. You know, like, is it more than that?
Yeah, well, you have to learn pretty much every position for every image that we take. So let's say someone breaks their hand. There's 3 images that we have, and every bone in the body has a different thing. So it's basically probably hundreds and hundreds of different ways to take a picture of something. So let's say someone's hand is like backwards, you know, they broke it or they dislocated it. You have to figure out how to take an image of this person, like without hurting them, without harming them in a different way. So it's just kind of like you go into the hospital, whatever gets thrown at you, you have to conquer it and see what happens, you know?
It's a lot more than what I thought. Okay.
I would have never thought.
Now you're training all together. We're gonna talk about basic and AIT. But all together, basic training is 9.5 weeks. But AIT, how long was that AIT?
Mine was a full year.
Full year.
Full
Now,
year.
on the civilian side, how long is that, you know, as far as civilian education, how long is that program?
It's a 2-year program. We do it in half the time for free.
And no, you get paid to do it. So.
And we get paid, you know,
Yeah.
but you don't have to pay any college for it. There's no money. You don't have to give any of your money away. You're getting money to get this education.
Now,
Okay.
now you chose this MOS or job, correct?
Yes, I did.
You weren't just sat down and given a list.
Nope.
You're basically, what did you score on that SPAT?
A 70.
Yep. You had to score relatively high to get those medical jobs, so you scored very high. Were there any other options that jumped out to you, or were you just, you know, set on X-ray tech?
Initially I wanted to be a 68 Whiskey, which is a combat medic, but I honestly wasn't for me when I looked into it and researched it. And what's cool about the Army is you can look at everything and all the jobs. They let you sit you down and let you watch videos and whatnot. And I liked X-ray tech better. And since you're in the Army, you get to choose before, you know. A lot of other branches, you can't do that. So I was lucky enough to get a good job because the Army let me, you know.
Awesome. Now, where did you go basic?
Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
How was Fort Sill?
It was amazing.
Really?
The DFAC was delicious.
The DFAC. But as far as Oklahoma in general, I mean, I'd imagine it's night and day between here in, you know, Southern California and Oklahoma.
Well, in basic training, you really aren't outside of the base.
Yeah, very true.
So it's kind of like a small little world that you're allowed to live in.
A little bubble.
And it's great, you know. Basic training was the best time of my life. I would go back now. I'm envious of the new recruits that are here, so I want to go back to basic. But
No, why do
Is
you
it
say?
just for the DFAC, or was it, I mean,
No,
did
the
you find it
experience.
challenging? Was it challenging for you? Is that what, you know?
There's little challenges, you know. You think you can't do something, and then when you achieve it and you do that, it just is the best feeling. And you can't get that feeling unless you're pushing yourself to do stuff. And basic training gives you so many opportunities to feel that way. and you go in scared, and you come out a soldier. So it's great.
That's awesome. Now, the Army being like the most diverse organization there is, you have people from all across the United States, you know, centralized into one little platoon or one little company in basic training. So how was that, meeting and interacting with new people, making friends? Did, you know, it go successfully?
It was great. You know what I mean? Like, you get to talk to different people who have different experiences than you. You know, if you've only lived in a small town your whole life, you probably haven't met certain people. And hearing their stories and seeing what they go through is awesome. You know, just get to experience more things. And that's the cool thing about the Army, is you get to experience so much that it kind of changes your perspective on life, you know?
Now, in basic training, you learn basic soldiering skills, marksmanship. You ever shoot a pistol or a rifle before?
Nope, never did.
So how do you shoot?
I have an expert badge right now.
That is awesome. I know some infantrymen out there that don't have an expert badge. Shame on you.
So you got at least 37 out of 40.
Yep.
Nice.
Awesome. Now, land nav. Please tell me you didn't get lost in the woods.
You know, we had our challenges. But I'm happy to have my battle buddies, because more heads is better than one. If that makes sense, you know. If my downfall is someone else is there to pick me up. So you learn like that.
And the obstacle course, the confidence climb and all that stuff.
The best. You get basic training is the only time that you will ever, well, maybe not the only time, but one of the few times you get paid to actually do fun things like that. When will you ever be able to rappel off a tower, you know, climb obstacle courses, race people, do that sort of thing for money?
Yeah.
It's awesome.
You made me wish I was back in basic training.
Very motivating.
Yeah, it's inspiring.
So you're talking about all the good things of basic training. What was like the most challenging part of basic training for you? Be it physically or mentally?
Were the drill sergeants, you know, scary or intimidating at all?
Oh yeah. You know, anyone who has that figure is just intimidating, but you know, after a while you get used to it. You just know what your place is. You have to learn where your place is, and once you learn that, you're good, you're golden. For me, the hardest thing, well, in retrospect, it's not the hardest thing because I overcame it. But when I first wanted to join, the one reason I didn't want to do it was because of the gas chamber. I was so afraid. I was like, oh my gosh, they're going to kill me. Like, I'm going to die. But it wasn't like that. It was a very motivating, team-building exercise. It was amazing, and it was painful. It really was. But it was the best, probably one of the best memories I have from basic.
And she showed me the picture. I will post that later. Whether she likes it or not, you'll see her face immediately walking out of the gas chamber.
You should make it come up in the video.
I just popped it up. Now, did you make a lot of friends basic training?
Yeah, lifelong friends. You know, those people that you're with for that short amount of time, you're in it together. And such a stressful time, you just build these relationships that you'll never get with anyone else. You can have friends back home, and you'll never have that feeling like with those people. And I talk to these people on Facebook sometimes because, you know, we get separated. It's the Army, it's our job. If you decide to go active duty, it's like we never stopped talking. It's like we never stopped being friends. It's just that close, and that feeling it gives me chills, you know, having that.
It's camaraderie.
Yeah.
Like, no.
That's one thing that's very underrated in the Army that a lot of people don't understand, is the bonds that we form with each other, and those relationships that we gain is like no other. Like, you met these people, you were there with them for 9 weeks, and then you feel such a connection with them that you don't have with people that you've known for years.
Yeah. You get out and you have the same experiences, and you have been through the same stuff, and you bond. It just happens. That's how it is.
Now, AIT, which is your job training, it was broken down into 2 phases.
For me, yes.
So phase 1, where was it located at?
Phase 1 was my didactic period, which is all schoolwork. It was in San Antonio, Texas. All right place.
I'm from Texas. Love it. So, Fort Sam Houston, were you living in a bay with like 30 sets of bunks, or did you have different type of living quarters when you were there?
I lived in barracks. We had a separate building from the males. It was just totally secluded. We actually lived on top of a battalion, which is pretty much the headquarters there. you know, our day-to-day life was we get up in the morning, do PT, we march over, we march over to the little tar pit, we get accountability for the day, and then we go off to school. We do our PowerPoint, or Death by PowerPoint, all day, except for the occasional labs that we have, which is when we go in and we kind of simulate what my job is in clinicals. But at the time, I really had no idea what I was doing. You have no idea what's going on. But then you go back, march back in formation, get another accountability, and then you're go to chow and you're go to bed. And do it all over again.
How long was that phase?
6 months.
6 months. And then your second phase was how long?
6 months as well.
6 months. And where was that located at?
Fort
phase
Lewis,
2?
Washington.
And you're in love with Washington now.
I love Washington.
And you made everyone in the office know.
Everyone in the office knows you
I
love
will go
Washington.
back
Now,
any day.
what were you doing in that second phase?
All clinical. So basically, I went into the hospital. I did my job like a normal person would do, and I just learned as I went.
So it's like when your clinicals are more like an on-the-job training type thing.
It's all on the job training. I had no tests, none of that PowerPoint stuff. You know, sometimes we had little classes to help us, but other than that, it was just go in. They give you real life patients with real life injuries, and you have to talk to them and talk them through what's happening to them. People come to you in the hospital and they're at their most vulnerable. You have to be sensitive to people, because when they're sick, when you're sick, you probably don't want anybody being rude, or you don't want them to make you feel worse than you already are. So we have a really tough job to not hurt people, to not make them feel worse than when they came in, and just to keep them safe and make them feel better. So phase 2 was very, very interesting, and I learned a lot. And I'm really happy that I did it in Fort Lewis, because Washington is great.
I've never been, but I think I'm fine just here in Southern California.
I lived there for 12 years. I love it.
You sound like her now. Now next week, you're off to your first duty assignment in
Yes.
Germany. Where exactly in Germany are you going?
I'm going to Hohenfels, Germany, which is southern, I believe. It's right next to Nuremberg.
Are you excited for that?
Yes, you know, new experience. Excited as you can be.
Get to travel Europe.
Yeah.
Backpack across Europe. A lot of history, a lot of culture, a lot of art museums. I've been trying to preach to you that's better than Washington, but
You're in the heart of Europe.
Germany is great, but I love Washington.
now, how long did you sign up for as far as your enlistment? How long is the first enlistment?
6 years, but 1 year's already gone, so I'll have 5 remaining.
Awesome. So Germany will be a 3-year. Where are you hoping to go? Please don't say Washington after your first contract goes.
Fort Lewis, Washington.
I know it. Now, you being a young woman and obviously having parents, there's a lot of parents out there, especially of young women, that are their main concern sexual harassment, sexual assault. Was that a concern of your family? Was that a concern of yours?
For my family, it was a big concern. My grandma was very, very adamant on figuring out the situation involving all of that. She was very nervous for me. That was one of the reasons why she did not want me to join. For me, my NCOs that were, well, at the time they were just my future soldier leaders. They told me a lot about the programs, which is pretty much the SHARP program, and it put my mind at ease, at least. And since I've been in, it hasn't really been an issue. I've had a lot of training. We all get a lot of training, even though we might not want to go to that much training. We all learn it. We have to go. It's mandatory. And there's always that program there. It's such a big program that if anything happens, it's going to be taken care of and handled at that moment. We have so much support on it that I honestly am not fearful for it. If it happens, I know that where to go. I know what to do. But since I've been in, it hasn't been an issue for me or my battle buddies. So
That's correct. We all in the Army receive SHARP training, which is sexual harassment, assault, response prevention program. Basic training, AIT, they receive that training as well. And once she gets her unit quarterly, she'll receive that training. There are also preventive measures, as far as especially for you in basic and AIT, because you are co-ed. What preventive measures were taken?
separate barracks rooms. There's actually cameras, so anyone coming in and out will be on camera. In my phase 2, we actually did have, there's fire guard for everything, or CQ, depending on where you're at. So there are people literally in front of wherever you're living, watching everybody who comes in and out, just to make sure that you're safe and that nothing's going to happen.
Did you guys utilize the buddy
Right.
system at all?
Yep, we had battle buddies. That was a mandatory from basic training to more phase 1, but also in phase 2. You know, it's battle buddies is always a thing that's going to be part of the Army. You know, if you have that second person that has your back, it's better than you being alone and something happening. You know, if someone's there, you're safe. That's one of the big
Now,
things.
it's the ratio, right? If it's, you know, you'd never be alone with a male soldier. It would
No.
either be 2 male soldiers, 1 female, or 2 female soldiers, 1 male,
Yeah.
or you and another female.
Mm-hmm.
That's just another preventive measure they use that's taken. So we got past the Sharp and AIT. Now you're going off to Germany.
Mm-hmm.
What is a short-term goal?
I'm going to get my national certification, which is it's our registry for radiology technicians. Basically, when I get out of the Army, if I get out, decide to, you can go to the civilian world and just start working like a normal X-ray tech, like I did the civilian training. So the Army did that for me, which is awesome, free of charge the first time you take it. But
Now, long-term. Give us a long-term goal.
if for the military, I eventually want to become an officer. You know, that's my goal. But if I get out, just be successful in life and, you know, support my family and just be happy. That's my long-term goal if I'm a civilian.
Awesome. Now, thank you for joining us in this little Q&A interview. They're a little bit nervous about it. Did you have any more questions, my brother?
Now, one thing we didn't touch as far as your job training. You said it was a year long.
Yeah.
How long would it have taken you to get that same job training in the civilian sector?
2 years.
Okay. That was the
Nice.
only other question I had that we forgot to touch on.
All right. Well, once again, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you all for tuning in. I encourage you to find Sergeant Bradley on Facebook. Myself, Staff Sergeant Nanos. Follow and like my Huntington Beach page, Army Strong HB, and the Mission Viejo Army page, which is U.S. Army Mission Viejo. And we are on Instagram and Twitter at OC_Army Strong. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, have a great day.
Who will?
It will be